Hey everyone, Jenny Hart with the Jenny Hart team at Keller Williams, here with Kyle Snyder at First American Title. Today we're going to chat a little bit about stats and inventory and then go into the difference between CMAs and appraisals. So we both definitely saw some inventory changes, which leads to a lot of other changes. So Kyle, tell us what we found this month.
Hooray! Finally, we have some inventory. It's for years, 2 years at least now, we've been struggling with really low inventory throughout the region, and now we have some. It's a dramatic change, and the numbers are seriously higher. In Longmont last month, we rose by 27% in single-family homes. 27%, 25% in attached homes. That's huge. Out in the Carbon Valley, 50% more versus last year. You know what this does? This gives buyers options. This is what they haven't had. They don't need to race out and buy the first thing that fits into their budget and has 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. They can pick and choose.
Right. So this week I took out some first-time home buyers who were CHAFA, which means down payment assistance. 2 years ago, it's like, okay, we're pulling up to the driveway, there's 7 offers, you have 5 minutes, I have the offer pre-written, hurry up and decide, right? That's where we were. Last week, I was able to take them just in Frederick Firestone. They had 12 homes to choose from. We looked at, I believe, 7 of them. 2 of them were perfect, and we went under contract with our first offer. That's very different than where we were the past couple of years. Yeah.
And so what happens now is you have a couple other things. So with more on the market, you're going to have more days on the market because there's more to choose from, as you just described. And you don't have to overpay for the property because you don't have to be so frantic to get into it. So that's starting to level out prices. They're not dropping. It's a leveling out. It's what we talked about, 4 or 5 months ago? And but also at the same time, there's that freedom to sell your home because there are homes available to buy. So we're not locked into the house anymore, and so you're going to have more people doing more transactions, and we have that as well. Last month there were 23% more single-family homes sold in Longmont, and oh my goodness, 69% more attached homes. We went from 26 to 44 last month over last year. And this is great news. This is great news for buyers. Yes, and sellers are getting their price, but they have to have value in that property.
Right, reasonable expectations, which I always set with my clients.
You can't overprice it. Those days are gone.
Yeah. So as far as pricing, I had an inquiry, and I've had several people kind of confused lately. What is a CMA and what is an appraisal? So as a realtor, I do not set the price for your home. I give you all the comps, I give you my expert opinion, I tell you why I think this is kind of a range that you should be in, but ultimately setting the home price from the get-go is your decision. Later in the process, it's the appraiser's decision. So when I meet with you, I do a CMA, which is a comprehensive market analysis. That's where I pull data, I try to preview all the homes that hit the market so I know what your competition is. I know why this one sold for 300 and your other neighbor sold for 400. I can very professionally guide you through that process. However, once there's a transaction that involves a loan, a bank orders an appraisal, and that is ordered through a third-party appraisal management company. We don't have control over who we hire. We typically aren't allowed to talk to them. There's very strict policies in place when it comes to an appraiser, and Kyle is a former home appraisal, so he's going to talk to you guys a little bit about that process.
So the purpose of an appraisal is different than the purpose of a CMA. The purpose of a CMA is to help you and assist you in setting the price of your home. The purpose of an appraisal is so that the bank knows that they have an asset that's worth what they're loaning on. So in case they have to take that back because a borrower doesn't make the payments, do they have the value that they loaned on? So it's a verification of that, and it's a very long process. Appraisers go through schooling, and they come up with a value, and it's either the value that you have on the purchase. Typically, they're not going to give you any more because it doesn't make sense. Who would sell a house for less than its value? So usually the top price, the top value that they'll give it is the value on the contract. And then anything lower than that, you can't get the loan at that value. It's technically called an opinion of value, but it has to be at very minimum the price of the house for you to get your loan. They do comps, they look at the county records, they look at a lot of things, including the trends in the area to verify this for the banks. And that's what's used for that bank to then sell that loan in the secondary market. You gotta have one.
There's also various restrictions and guidelines for VA appraisals, FHA appraisals, conventional loan appraisals, things like that, independent appraisals. Also, their word sometimes isn't the final say. I had something pop up a week ago where the underwriter said, we're not sure about this appraisal, we need a field review, which is basically a second appraisal. So the price you set on your home is a good gauge, and I can help you through that process, but ultimately a lot more goes into that final price.
And if you have a standard home, on a standard lot, something that's not unique, meets and bounds outside the city, if you're doing something that's typical for an area, there are a lot of appraisal waivers these days. If you've got good credit, good down payment, they may just waive your appraisal. I've seen a number of those on purchases, even purchases of investment properties.
Yeah. Unfortunately, again, not something we have control over, but you might luck out.
Save
right?
you $600, yeah.
Right. And it also depends on, is your appraiser competent in the area they're appraising? That's something we also want to check. You don't necessarily want an appraiser who's strictly done your typical in-town appraisals to go do your 50 acres with water rights. So we can help you through some of that as well. So if you have questions about stats, if you need a CMA, if you have questions about an appraisal, definitely reach out to me and Kyle and we will get answers for you.
Happy to help.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great week. And I am casual today. This is my mindset shirt. So set your mind and don't give up. That's my message.
I'm golf.
Yeah.
I'm not playing golf, but
Should be.
Should be.
Have a good one,
Take
guys.
care.